not showing any levels here. Looks like the audio settings on my side are not showing up. There we go. What's up, everybody? Chef Grammer with the ABQJournal. I am in Richmond, Virginia at the Siegel Center. I am hoping you guys can hear me fine now. Maybe you guys can hear me before, but it wasn't showing up on my trusty little Zoom, whatever this little PodTrack 4P4 thingy is. So I'm here now. I am located behind the band, which is there's Grateful Dead night here at the Siegel Center. They were giving away some Grateful Dead t-shirts at the door, and I don't know what the connection is. I don't know entirely why that is, but it is what it is, right? I will minimize this so you guys can see a little bit more of the court from we're sitting up in let's swap. Hello. This is a mess. This is a mess. Wi-Fi here so far has been worse than in the pit. They actually have dedicated press Wi-Fi here too, and it's kind of killing me. So hopefully you guys can see everything just fine now. Hopefully you guys can hear me just fine now. I will tell you that I am sitting, like I said, behind the band, so I don't know how much of that is coming through. It's about 30 feet or so behind the band where they have us up here in press row, and should be okay with this headset here. Media seating over on that side over there. Also up on the upper concourse is where the radio is, where the radio teams are. So Robert Portnoy and Hunter Green will be doing their radio call from there as well. Got a few questions in already. Who's winning? Nobody in this game. So far, technology is beating me, but the game so far is not started. Starts at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Mountain, back in Albuquerque. So, but yeah, we're still 45 minutes away from game time here in Richmond, Virginia. Houston, we resolved the problem somewhat. We'll see. We'll see. Hope you guys enjoyed our election night coverage last night, the runoff election back in Albuquerque, and tonight back to sports. I will tell you that I've been informed of no injuries for the Lobos. Sounds like everybody is on board, and everybody should be playing tonight. We got John Romero in on YouTube asking the same question. All hands on deck for Lobo basketball team and Lobo fans. We have our work cut out for us tonight. Tighten your seatbelt and high tops. Yeah, should be a really good game. In fact, this is probably the best game of the season for the Lobos, probably next to Nebraska. Nebraska's probably a better team. They're certainly rated slightly higher in all the metrics and ranked this week. VCU is not ranked. VCU already has 3 losses, including one to Mountain West Utah State. Mountain West leading Utah State was up on them pretty decisively most of that game. VCU came back and made it a one-possession game at the end in a neutral court game played in Frisco, Texas. And I'm looking down at the court right now, and I do see a couple people in warm-ups for the Lobos that I guess that's just Mikey Howell, assistant coach. Yeah, as far as I'm told, I was told of no injuries, so I don't think there are any Lobos sitting out tonight's game. They're going through warm-ups right now, and obviously the big concerns would be, the starting 5. I saw all of them working out, so should be all hands on deck for the Lobos tonight. We got Richie in on YouTube, my boy. Thank you, Richie, for watching, as always. No Sean Ryder on this show. This is just basketball. Sean is back home recouping from most of the football season being complete. He's now got Bull coverage to work on the next few weeks, but he also gets to catch his breath just a little bit now, right? And after a long football season. So The point spread opened at 9.5 points for VCU. I'm going to pull up the old Vegas Insider right now, see what their betting line is at right now. I did see it. Some people said it moved to 11, as much as 11 points VCU favored. I would be surprised if it's still there. That's too many points based on the metrics. So let's see if I can find the updated betting odds for this game. 8.5. Looks like MGM Grand has it at 8.5. And that looks like 8.5 pretty much across the board. The VCU Rams are favored by 8.5. Atlantic 10, one of the favorites in the Atlantic 10, VCU this year. The Atlantic 10 this year is a little more top-heavy. Overall, the Mountain West is rated higher. That is because there's a whole lot of mid-level teams, I would say. There are probably a few more higher-end teams right now in the Atlantic 10, at least perception-wise from the national media. But I would tell you, too, that the Mountain West being rated higher is not an unusual thing. It's been that way for years, that the Mountain West has been the top conference outside of the power structure, which in basketball is the 5-conference power structure: the SEC, the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12, and the Big East. I'm pulling up right now some of the metrics right now in the Atlantic 10. VCU is right now ranked number 1 in KenPom at 41. St. Louis is at 43. And then you jump down to 60 at George Washington, George Mason at 69, Dayton at 70, and Richmond right outside the top 100 at 101. If you want to look at the Mountain West, it's a pretty similar structure in terms of how many are in the top 100. I said the A10's more top-heavy than the Mountain West. I was wrong. It is not. Right now we got Utah State at 38, San Diego State and Boise State both inside the top 50 at 45 and 49 respectively. Colorado State at 61, New Mexico Lobos 86, Nevada Wolfpack at 87, Wyoming inside the top 100 at 99. It's that Wyoming one that's the big surprise, if you ask me right now. I don't know if there's any other big surprises in the Mountain West so far, other than the rise that Wyoming has been on so far this early season. Not just beating teams, but beating them with enough efficiency to climb rapidly in the KenPom rankings. Now, they have been primarily a team that's played in Laramie, which is a tough place to go play. They have not been on the road much, but when they were on the road, one of their true road games was in Lubbock at Texas Tech, nationally ranked Texas Tech, and they only lost by 4, 76-72. So really good showing for Wyoming and the Cowboys there. John's in on YouTube. I just got plus 8.5 when betting the Lobos. My house is depending on a win. So we shall see if John and betting the house for the Lobos on the road is a good idea. Lobos have played one true road game this year, and they lost at New Mexico State. Played 2 neutral court games. They lost to Nebraska, and they beat the SEC's Mississippi State. So playing away from the pit has not been entirely kind, hasn't been totally unkind. On the neutral court, they did make the nice comeback with Nebraska and had a respectable showing in the final score, but it certainly was a miserable first half for the Lobos. And this will be pretty much a sold-out 7,700 or so Siegel Center here in Richmond, Virginia. Eddie's asking how much does UNM get for these ESPN Plus games. They don't get anything. ESPN Plus doesn't pay money for the road team especially. Non-conference games, in all games really, the home team dictates the broadcast. The visiting team doesn't get any money for a road game. The visiting team gets money and they either get paid to come play the game or they do a home and home, so both teams split. That's what the case here. VCU played in the pit last December. It was a game that Donovan Dent, VCU was actually favored in that game, by the way, and Donovan Dent ended up going for 25 of his 40 points. He had a 40-point game, 25 in the second half. Just went one-on-one, or actually did a lot of high ball screen with Nelly Jr. Joseph, a lot of pick and roll down the stretch of that game, and could not be stopped. Either picked up a foul or finished at the rim. I want to say it was like probably 8 out of every 10 possessions in that second half. Donovan Dent just really abused that VCU team. That was a Ryan Odom coached VCU team. Ryan Odom being the former Utah State coach who is now coaching at Virginia. He had Max Schugler on that team as well. That is a former Utah State player as well. But when he left for Virginia, Phil Martelli Jr. took this job here at VCU. Before that happened, Richard Pitino, the Lobos coach, was offered the VCU job and turned it down. Phil Martelli is now coaching VCU because former Lobo coach Richard Pitino turned down the VCU job. Eric Olin is now coaching at UNM because Richard Pitino did take the Xavier job. And when he took the Xavier job and the job opened up, one of the hottest names on the market, 2 of the hottest names, frankly, were Phil Martelli Jr. and Eric Olin. The Lobos got Eric Olin, more of a West Coast guy who had spent the previous 21 years in San Diego, at UC San Diego. And Phil Martelli took this VCU job. Both coaches have sort of spoken about how they've seen a lot of growth from their team in recent weeks, in recent games specifically. I think a lot of people that saw Saturday's Lobo game against Santa Clara would agree with that. That is certainly the best the Lobos have looked all season on Saturday, and then they're making strides, right? They're walking off the court right now, and VCU fans are giving them the business a little bit. Not quite like the Pit, but should still be a pretty raucous home environment here. Like I said, it was great. It's Grateful Dead night. Seeing some students walk in with their Grateful Dead T-shirts. Again, I have no idea what the connection to Grateful Dead is, but if you can get a Grateful Dead night and a T-shirt out of it, why don't you, right? See what some of these other questions are here. All right, so wrote this week about Tomislav Buljan coming off one of his best games. I think his best game clearly was that Mississippi State game, where against the SEC's Mississippi State and a strong SEC powerful kind of athletic front court. Tomislav Buljan set a freshman record in rebounding with 21. He had 19 points, 21 rebounds. He was named Mountain West Freshman of the Week that week. And this week, he's also the reigning Mountain West Freshman of the Week after his 16.10 rebound double-double against Santa Clara on Saturday. It was really in the first 81 seconds of that game when he picked up 2 fouls on 7-1 starting center for Santa Clara, Bucky Oboye, who just wasn't fast enough to handle Tomislav Buljan off the dribble. In both drives from beyond the three-point line, he put the ball on the deck and just drove by the 7-footer and slow-footed 7-footer, kind of playing catch-up a little bit. Had to play catch-up and foul. Tomislav got him 2 fouls in the first 81 seconds, so with 18:39 showing on the first half clock, their starting center's already on the bench. The Lobos were able to attack the rim all night and be aggressive. They were aggressive on both sides of the ball. Phil Martelli said he's watched every game of the Lobos this season, and he has not seen a game nearly as aggressive as that Saturday game on both sides of the ball for the Lobos, both offensively and with pressure defense. So it was definitely by design, and we'll see how much of that we get tonight. VCU is a team that has a lot of high-pressure defense, so they are sort of expecting if the Lobos do it as they did against Santa Clara. Phil Martelli said that is something they should be used to because they see it every day in practice. However, they have not seen it done to them in the game very often this year. So we'll see how they handle it in the game situation. How's Richmond compared to New Mexico, culture-wise and such? I can't fathom going over there or even think about it. I was eating pregame at a dinner with a few Lobo fans that live out here, two of the three that live out in this area, and one of them was just saying, like, this area where VCU is located is some similarities to Albuquerque, and I don't know if I totally agree with that, but I see what the comment is based on, right? There's certainly it is not an overly fancy area by any stretch. It's sort of like downtown Albuquerque, where there's a nice mix of I suppose classes a little bit, but it is a college town. There is a few little nice bars and restaurants right in the area. You don't have that around the Pit. That is what Fernando Lobo is trying to kind of oversee development of that South Campus development around University Stadium in the Pit, is to get sort of these sort of city-like vibes around the stadium where you could go have dinner and a beer before a game and then just walk over to the stadium. We got Nick in here saying on YouTube, seems like KP Jr., Kevin Patton Jr., has earned more of a role for us. Would you say? Yep. I think for the past 4 games, 3 of the past 4 games, I would say he played really well and earned more of a role. I don't know that I saw much of him on Saturday that was overly impressive, but I thought he started in Kansas City showing that he was on the same page with the team. And he wasn't showing that earlier. I know there's still a lot of people that want to see Tameo Pons play. And I saw one comment on it was either a journal article on Facebook or it might have been a YouTube comment saying Eric Olin needs to start playing Tameo Pons more because he's not just a secret weapon. He is the team's weapon, and they're not going to win without him. And I just don't see it, man. Like, Tameo Pons is a great shooter. and he does have skill, but he's a true freshman, and true freshmen just don't do that very often. The fact that the Lobos have 3 true freshmen averaging over 10 points a game is unique. They're one of only 2 teams in the country to have 3 freshmen averaging double digits. One of them is a 23-year-old true freshman who played 3 years of professional basketball in Croatia. So Uriah Tenet and Jake Hall being the other 2, and they're true freshmen. They're legitimate, traditional true freshmen. Tameo Pons isn't ready, though. He does not do what the team does defensively. He does not do what they do offensively. He is a great shooter, and as he learns, he'll get more minutes. But Tameo Pons, it's got to – I don't know – some people are really pushing for him to play more, and I don't know if it's really fair to him to keep pushing at this point if you aren't watching him on the court. And you can see he's not doing the same thing as everyone else. So he'll get there, but he's not there. He's just not there. So Kevin Patton, on the other hand, I think is starting to do a lot of what everybody else on the court is doing. They're on the same page. They're learning to play off him and his athleticism, just like he's learning to play within the structure of what they're doing. And I do think Kevin Patton's going to be getting a whole lot more playing time soon. I think he's already getting more playing time now, and I think we'll continue to see that. John Romero on YouTube is saying VCU basketball made the NCAA Final Four in 2011 after having to do a play-in game after barely getting in the tournament. That is my trivia for the day. Thank you, John. Eddie is saying, hope your rental car is still outside after the game. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I hope so too, Eddie. I am in a lot that had a security guard on it, so couldn't get in without being on the list, so hopefully it works. But, yes, I agree with you. I don't know that the car theft issue is one here that it is quite the same in Albuquerque, where some of you may know I've had my car stolen twice in the past year. What does a win do to our metrics in KenPom? I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, they're a good ranked team, but a win isn't just a win in the metrics. It depends how much you win by. It depends how much, defensive efficiency is, like how many points they score per possession. You win 150 to 150. That may be good for offensive efficiency. It's not good for defensive efficiency. But I think people need to understand when it comes to the metrics, there's different formulas for different metrics. But the metrics in a generic sense aren't just based on if you win a game or you lose a game. It's based on how you look in that game. It's based on if you play a really bad team and blow them out, it doesn't really just shoot you up the metrics by beating them by 10 or 15. You better beat them by 20 or 30 if you're expected to. So there are predictive metrics that kind of show what a game should be. And in this case, I think KenPom has this as a 79-71 VCU game. I'll pull that up to make sure. But the Lobos to gain in the metrics here would have to be better than losing by 8. And they probably would then gain in the metrics. So, and also you have to remember every team's kind of allotted a point total based on defensive and offensive efficiency. So just because they gain in the points, if all the teams around them happen to also gain that day, they may not gain in ranking position. So they're 86 right now are the Lobos. They could win tonight, and all the teams around them win tonight and win impressively too. They all might move up too. And so, like in point total, they might not actually move up in the rankings because of that. So the bottom line is just keep winning. Win as impressively as you can when you can. But the bottom line is really just keep winning. Sunday is the non-conference finale for the Lobos. I will say that if you told me before the season that they had a chance to finish even at 9-3, right now they're 7-2. Or 8-2 rather. What are they? 7-2, 8-2. You'd think the beat writer would know that, right? 7-2. So let's say they split these next 2 games. They win at home and they lose tonight, and they finish at 8-3 in their non-conference play. If that were to happen, I think people would have taken that, knowing that they're one of only 3 teams in the country that have an entirely new roster of players and an entirely new coaching staff. Again, just 3 schools in the entire country didn't return a single player on their coaching staff, or a single person on their coaching staff, or a single player on their roster. But the Lobos are one of them. If you told me they were going to go 8-3 with a win over Santa Clara, win over SEC's Mississippi State, I think most people probably would have been okay with that. I know nobody wants that New Mexico State loss in Las Cruces, but it's the best New Mexico State team that Jason Hooten's had down in Las Cruces since he's been there. And I don't think that's going to age poorly necessarily. I don't think it's going to get up to a quad 2 or quad 3 kind of win, but I don't think it's going to be the worst thing in the world that the Lobos lost that true road game when most of college basketball at the mid-major and certainly the high major level doesn't even play true road games at all anymore. I was looking earlier today, the Mountain West in terms of true true road games this year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 9. The entire Mountain West has just 9 true road games against the top 100 KenPom team, this being one of them. They have 2 that are semi-home games. San Diego State will be playing on December 20th at Phoenix, against the University of Arizona, but that's 2 hours away from Tucson. It's certainly not a home gym kind of game, but it's close enough where it'll be considered semi-home on KenPom. Fresno State played Arkansas this past weekend in Little Rock, not in Fayetteville. Need some water there, guys. Sorry. So, all right. So the matchup tonight, I'm looking at 80-71, by the way, is what KenPom predicts tonight for VCU. Looking at what VCU does compared to what New Mexico does, VCU right now is ranked number 15 in the country in defense. So very good defensive team. Offensively, they're down at 77. I say down at 77. It's still top 100. It's still pretty good. New Mexico, on the other hand, is number 70 in defense, number 110 in offense. What New Mexico's been doing well lately, and early in the season and then lately again kind of picking it up, is their defense forcing turnovers. I think that VCU is a team that has shown a little bit susceptible with the 17.6% turnover rate on offense. They can turn the ball over a little bit, and their steal rate specifically, they're not doing a lot of dead ball kind of turnovers where it's like an offensive charge or something where the ball stops, whistle's blown, and the ball stops. But they're giving up steals quite a bit, and that allows for the Lobos to have maybe some points in transition. That's what they killed Santa Clara with, 29-3 in fast break points in Saturday's win over Santa Clara, and they did a lot of that off the steals, right? Live ball turnovers. Coaches hate live ball turnovers. VCU has been a little susceptible to that this year, 11.4% steal rate on the wrong side on offense. And now while they force turnovers as well defensively, they're ranked 33rd in the country in turnover rate defensively. I'm sorry, that's the Lobos. VCU is ranked 79th in the country at a 19.8 turnover rate. VCU is susceptible to giving up live ball turnovers. If they do that again today, the Lobos and Dayton Albury in particular with his speed are going to make them pay. That is what the Lobos are looking to do, looking to get out and transition. Lobo fans, I know, were a little worried that there wasn't much transition earlier in the season, that they thought the offense was boring. But you saw Saturday is what they want to do, obviously, not just winning and winning big, but the brand of basketball was what they want to do. So, like some people have said, you got to give a brand new team just a few games to kind of get stuff under their, get gelled just a little bit, right, before you give up on them. And I know a lot of fans didn't give them that, but now they're kind of seeing like they're playing pretty good now that they're starting to get on the same page. You got G Wade in on X. G Wade is saying correct, and Patton is a lot more experienced than Pons. That's correct. Kevin Patton's a third-year player. Tomato Pons, yep, just not ready. I get it. He can shoot, guys. I don't know what everyone else is seeing other than he can shoot. There's a lot more to basketball than being able to shoot. So, is this a quality win that could help with an at-large bid? Potentially, 100%. This has quad one potential. Being a true road game, VCU has potential to be a top 50 team. And, 100% this has potential for a quality win. And the Lobos could really use it. They're not favored, and there's a reason for that. But, yeah, this would help them tremendously if they happen to get this one. Jeff, are you enjoying the team so far? I'm enjoying the defense field runs we have going on. Yeah, one of my favorite stats before this year, the kill stat, man. And the defense turning into offense kill stat is just my favorite. And it is something that this team has the potential to get a lot of. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, they had one through, 6 games, I think it was. And then their last 3 games, they went 3-3-3. So they've had 9 more in the last 3 games. Now, one of those was against Division II Highlands, New Mexico Highlands. So that doesn't count in terms of EvanMaya.com's kill shot tracker. He actually tracks it for every team in the country. But the Lobos do lead the Mountain West in kill shots, and that is 10-0, 10-0 scoring runs or better. And that is when you need both getting a stop and scoring on offense, obviously, to get those. And their defense has been getting a lot of those stops. So, yeah, I'm enjoying watching this team because I think they are starting to hit their stride a little bit with what Eric Wolin is asking them to do, and they weren't earlier. I don't blame fans for not seeing what Eric Olin saw could happen. But if you're patient, you can see it starting to happen now. John's back in on YouTube. Looks like VCU put the opposition media in the rafters, similar to Pan Am and Las Cruces. Darn the luck. Yeah, all the media's up here though, so I'm not offended. How big is the arena, and does it sell out at all? Yeah, it could sell out tonight. It's 7,700, I believe, 7,700. But yeah, it definitely sells out during some A10 games, and this one's one tonight that it could possibly sell out tonight as well. The Siegel Center is what it's called. Actually, hold on. I'll tell you what the capacity is. The Siegel Center is 7,637. This is the 143rd largest Division I arena. The home court advantage given to teams or given to VCU when they play a home game is 2.9 points. That's 187th in D1. So they're slightly below where they're below halfway in the metrics, which is surprising to me. But there you go. So what else we got here? Stephen Lujan is in on X. I assume Pond's redshirt option is voided with the minutes he got against Highlands. Yeah, he's played twice. He played a Division I game, he played Division II game. But yeah, Jamil Pons is not looking to redshirt. He's looking to play more this season. He's just there was no redshirt discussion with him. He wanted to play. All right, Nicholas is in on YouTube. He's watching the Field of 68 podcast. Seemed like last week was big for the Mountain West. They mentioned all those wins may move from 1 to 2-bid league back to a 3 to 4, obviously depending on conference play. What I wrote in Mondays Around the Mountain column that I wrote that I write every Monday night for the Journal is that it was one of those kind of weeks, right? Like, I think this is still a 2-bid league. I would lean more towards it pushing to a 3 rather than dropping to a 1 at this point. But I'm sticking, if you're picking one number, I'm sticking with 2 right now. This is a 2-bid league, and all depends on, what wins come for the right teams. You're not looking for a whole bunch of teams to all go 500. You're going to need a couple teams to pick up all the important wins in league play, right? And the Lobos certainly would need some of those big type wins to be an at-large team. Whoever wins the Mountain West tournament, of course, gets in automatically, and that's the easiest path. Justin Martinez is in on X. Is that Jeff, the political analyst grammar? That is. I am slumming it a little bit and doing some sports coverage tonight. So hopefully all you political followers are okay with me slumming it like a sports guy tonight. It's been fun to see the brand new team progress and improve each game. This is Stephen Lujan back on X. Win tonight should help the wait-and-see crowd even more. Yeah, the wait-and-see crowd is missing out because if you're not able to enjoy the progression of a team throughout the year and you just kind of want to bemoan, I never get to know these players and NILs change the game, I don't know what you want other than coming to games and enjoying the progress of the team. That is exactly what they're doing in front of everybody's eyes right now is kind of progressing in a way that we haven't seen within a season before. We see teams get better, but you think of the Patino era. What season specifically went in like 1 month's time saw the growth like you saw with this team? You saw a 4-year rebuild of a program, right? I mean, from horrible being ranked in the bottom 200s of Ken Palm and the net and that kind of stuff with that the lost year of COVID and Paul Weir's last year, 10-year postseason drought, NCAA tournament and NIT. You saw Patino come in and rebuild the program over a 4-year period. What you're seeing Eric Olin do right now, starting from scratch, completely new roster, completely new coaching staff, you're seeing it within 5 weeks, the progress made. And that seems to be what fans say, like, that's what we want to see. We want to see them play tough defense. They've been doing that. We want to see the players grow and get to know them a little bit. They're giving you that chance right now. And it's not my job to pump these guys up and sell tickets for them, but, like, as a reporter, I've seen more growth from this team in 5 weeks than I've seen from any team in the first 5 weeks of a season that I can remember. So, we'll see. It seems to be they're doing what fans say they want, and then there are still some fans saying they just haven't bought in yet. Who do I got winning the CFP? I don't know. I don't know what the value is on some of the bets, but I like Texas Tech not being the favorite. I'd probably think that they have some value if you bet on them. It's kind of hard to go against Georgia anytime Georgia's in there, but kind of hard to go against Indiana. At some point, they got to get their love, right? But I do think the favorites. I mean, I think the top 4 seeds are where it's at. I don't think anybody outside those top 4 seeds is probably going to sneak in and win it. Has Coach Olin progressed in allowing you access to practice? I've not been to a Lobo men's basketball practice since October the 15th. So it is what it is. I don't know. At some point, I'll ask him again. But I've asked the sports information director. I've asked to go to practices, and no, I've not been allowed to one since October the 15th. But boosters are allowed to go. I mean, a lot of people are allowed to go, just not me. So I don't get it. Eddie's in on YouTube. I'm going to write Bezos twice a week in Shawshank Redemption style to get some NIL money. Yeah, and then once you get that NIL money, they'll say, okay, we consider this matter closed. Quit writing. And then you could write 4 times a week. I do like the Shawshank reference there. Good job. And if it works, you will be, I'm sure, given a nice pat on the back from every Lobo administrator, every UNM athletics administrator around. So, all right, guys, we're about 15 minutes away from tip-off. I'm going to sign off now. Lobos favored, or VCU favored, rather, by 8.5. Lobos in a tough road game here in the Siegel Center in Richmond, Virginia, VCU. And that should be a good one, man. Two really good teams. 2 teams that need wins like this, games like this, to build their postseason resume. We got Gonzalez Lobo in on YouTube saying, good afternoon, Lobo Nation. Let's do this. Let's get this dub, rather, and go Lobos. And I appreciate you guys, all of you, for joining in. There are some Lobo fans. You see pockets of red starting to fill the arena. Again, 15 minutes, 16, 17 minutes before tip-off. And the game clock actually says 13, but I'm telling you it's about 16 or 17. So appreciate you guys for joining in. We do have I'll have a game story later tonight. ABQJournal.com is where you can get that. We are launching a new website tomorrow morning. So am I emptying the notebook? We'll see. We'll see if I'm able to get emptying the notebook up in a timely and appropriate manner, because I'm still learning this new system, and hopefully our website's better and much improved, and we've gone through it before. So until I see it, I'm not going to bog you guys down with any details. It's supposed to be better. We'll find out together. Appreciate you guys.